An asteroid that was spotted late last year by space scientists is being carefully tracked. Scientists are trying to work out whether there's a chance of it hitting the Earth, which could happen 8 years from now. Our science editor, Rebecca Morell, is here with more details. Rebecca.
Thanks, Jane. Well, there's still a lot we need to learn about asteroid 2024 YR4. What we do know is that it's estimated to be between 40 and 90 metres, and the date it could hit is the 22nd of December 2032. Now, that chance is very small. It was thought to be 1.3%, but that risk has now gone up to 2%. But scientists say don't panic.
We talk about collision risks with these things a lot, but maybe it's better to think about the avoidance risk or the avoidance probability, and that's actually still quite high. So there's a 98% chance that this object will not hit our planet, and maybe that's what we should keep in mind.
That increase in impact risk is something that astronomers expect, and here's why. When an asteroid is first spotted, we're still learning about its orbit. The asteroid could pass through anywhere in this red zone. It's called the area of uncertainty, and it's big. Now, the Earth is in it too, but the risk of a collision is low. As we get more information, the area of uncertainty of where the asteroid might be shrinks. But now you can see that the Earth fills up more of it, so the risk increases. But as we learn even more, the area of uncertainty shrinks further, hopefully to a point where the Earth is now outside of it, so there's a zero risk of a collision. Astronomers are now trying to find out as much as they can, but time is short. The asteroid is currently moving away from the Earth, and after May, it won't be visible again until 2028. So they're using the most powerful tool they have, the James Webb Space Telescope. This will tell astronomers the precise size of the asteroid and more about its orbit. It's crucial information should we need a plan of action.
Although we may not be certain that at the moment this asteroid is going to hit, if it is going to hit, we know exactly when that will occur. And so we know what we need to do, for example, if we just want to evacuate an impact area, or in fact, if we have enough warning time, as may be the case for this one, we can actually mount a deflection mission.
NASA has already tested a deflection mission. It crashed a spacecraft into another small asteroid and successfully changed its orbit. But don't worry, we're not at that stage yet. Astronomers will continue to monitor this space rock.
Avi Loeb has suggested the 3I Atlas is actually some type of alien technology sent here from another solar system. And he's come on the show before to lay out the scientific reasoning behind that startling hypothesis. Well, this weekend he made headlines again when he said that the object could actually be on a mission to release, quote, mini probes that could invade Earth. Avi Loeb joins us now. He's head of the Galileo Project, director of Harvard University's Institute for Theory and Computation, also the best-selling author of the book Extraterrestrial. Okay, I'll bite. What are these mini probes you're talking about, and how would this even be possible?
Well, there are two possibilities. If it's a technological object, then it might maneuver itself. We haven't seen such a maneuver so far. But the other possibility is that it may release some other objects that reach the planets, and it will continue along its course to the next star. And we just need to keep our eyes on the ball, the way that basketball coaches often say to their team members, because we don't know, but it may well be just a rock which has some ice on the surface that evaporates, in which case we will say it's natural. You know, I defined a new scale last month that is now called the Loeb scale, where 0 is a natural object and 10 is a technological object. And at this point, I give it around a 4. But if it looks like a comet as it comes closer to the sun, I'll reduce the rank closer to 0.
Well, 4 is not 10, so it's actually, you think there's more of a shot that it really is actually just a comet?
Yeah, the reason was that the inferred size of the object was huge. It was between 20 and 46 kilometers, unless there is a dense cloud of dust around it that is scattering sunlight. This is an object, if that is the size of it, that is 1 million times more massive than the previous interstellar objects we've seen, and that's quite unlikely. There is not enough material in interstellar space
So
to
its
bring
size,
such a
the
huge
fact that
object.
it's unusually large is what's making you doubt that or at least be open to the possibility that it's not just a comet?
That's one aspect. And the second is that the trajectory is aligned with the plane of the planets around the sun. Now, we will get a good image of it when it comes close to Mars on October 3rd. We don't need to wait a lot. And there is a camera called HiRISE on the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter that can image it with a pixel resolution of 30 kilometers. So we should be able to tell how much light is reflected off the object and from that infer its size. And I very much look forward to that. You know, the fun of doing science is that we are guided by evidence and not prejudice.
Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna is asking NASA to monitor 3I Atlas and to send an orbital spacecraft even closer to it as it passes. That would give, what are the chances that NASA will agree to do that? Because that would certainly give us even more data, right? Even more images.
Yeah, this came because she actually spoke with me on the phone, and I mentioned
so you put her up to it.
Yeah, and I suggested doing that. NASA has a number of facilities that it can use in space to get us more data, and she did send a formal letter to Sean Duffy, the interim administrator of NASA. We are very much in line in terms of the way we think about this object and about the UAP that, in fact, Representative Luna is the chair of the task force that tomorrow will host a hearing.
So did NASA agree to do this? Have you heard any word? Because time is short, right? This thing is going to be here pretty soon.
Yeah, well, I spoke with the principal investigator of several of the missions, and definitely when the object comes close to Mars, the HiRISE camera will be used, and several other observatories will look at it. So I'm very much hopeful. I look forward to the data.
Thank you, Pastor.
Yet at first sight, there's nothing simple about Saturn's rings. We think they formed when an icy moon strayed too close to Saturn and was pulled apart by its gravity, creating a jumble of trillions of individual fragments of ice. So what turns such chaos into the ordered beauty of Saturn's rings? NASA's Cassini probe captured the rings in stunning detail. And orbiting within them, it saw one of the most startling objects in the entire Saturnian system. Pan is the most wonderful, bizarre object. I mean, look at these photographs taken by Cassini. I mean, it looks like a cross between a UFO and a piece of pasta. And it's really small. It's less than 30 kilometers in diameter. But its impact on the rings is profound. The shape, actually, is the key to understanding how it is that Saturn's rings are so wonderfully complex. And you can see the basic idea here. So there's Pan. And the moon is orbiting inside the ring. And so that means that ring particles can essentially hit them, they fall onto the surface. And because Pan has got a very weak gravitational field, it's too small, way below the potato radius, they don't get squashed into a sphere, they stay there, sort of a ridge. So part of the explanation for the gaps is that the rings are slowly being eaten. For millions of years, Pan has been nibbling away, clearing icy particles out of its orbit.
Abductions, we're fascinated by the idea of extraterrestrial life. Now, scientists have found the strongest evidence yet that a planet 124 light years away could be home to life. Researchers detected molecules in the atmosphere on the K2-18b, which on Earth are produced by marine organisms. More data is needed to confirm the findings, as our science correspondent Pallab Ghosh reports.
Could this faraway world be home to life? 18 months ago, scientists detected tiny hints of gas molecules in the atmosphere of planet K2-18b that might have been produced by life. Now, the scientists leading the search told me that the evidence has grown.
It is certainly the strongest sign we have seen yet, right? That can't be denied. So I can realistically say that we could confirm this signal within 1 or 2 years.
If you do, what would this say about the prospect of life on other worlds?
I think if we confirm that there is life on K2-18b, that would basically imply that life should be very common in the galaxy.
K2-18b is 2.5 times the size of Earth, and it's 700 trillion miles away. The James Webb Space Telescope is so powerful it can analyse the chemical composition of the atmosphere from the light that passes through it from the small red star it orbits. Its chemical signature seems to suggest that it contains molecules which on Earth can only be produced by living organisms, and it's such a strong signal that if it is home to life, it's plentiful.
Everything that's being spoken here is confidential.
Professor Madhusuddin and his team put the final touches on the scientific paper outlining their findings. Although the evidence for the molecules is increasing, they still don't have enough to say that they're definitely there.
More data will give us more light from this planet, which will give us more certainty that this particular chemical is there. But even with perfect data, you still won't be able to say this is definitely of a biological origin, because loads of strange things happen in the universe and we don't know what other geophysical activity could be happening on this planet. Loads of strange things happen in the universe and we don't know what other geophysical activity could be happening on this planet.
These latest results from K2-18b are tentative, but astronomers believe that they're getting ever closer to answering one of the biggest questions in science. Are we alone in the universe?
People really excited.
Yeah.
We might be one step closer to finding life on other planets. And we're going to get into that in a sec. But first of all, I wanted to ask you, what are your favourite facts about space?
Well, I've got 2 favourite facts. So one is about the sun. So we think of the sun as being like on a space level, quite close to us, right? But space is just so big that if you were to drive to the sun at 100 kilometres an hour, so like how fast you'd go down a motorway, it would take you 170 years to get there.
Oh, I did not know that.
If you went in a straight line and we set off now, we would be dead by the time we got there. That's how far away the sun is, and that's actually quite close to us on a sort of space scale. I also love the fact that when you look at the stars, you're essentially looking back in time. So the North Star, which in the Northern Hemisphere we use to navigate and have done for thousands of years, when you look at the North Star, the light that's arriving at your eyes left that star over 400 years ago. So you're essentially like looking back in time and seeing what that star looked like 400 years ago. Exactly, yeah, ancient light. So yeah, I love the fact that space is so much bigger than you can possibly wrap your head around, and looking at stars is like looking back in time.
I love that. There's a fact for day and a fact for night. I want to hear more about this discovery now. What can you tell me about what they found?
So scientists have been looking at an exoplanet, so that's a planet that exists in a solar system that isn't our own, called TRAPPIST-1e. And it's a rocky planet like Earth. It's a similar size to Earth, and it exists in the habitable zone around its sun. And its sun is called TRAPPIST-1. And basically being in the habitable zone means that if water exists on this planet, it's likely to be liquid rather than frozen or vapour, and that's sort of a good clue that there could be life there. So that's pretty exciting.
And what are the chances that there is water on this planet, that there are the basic building blocks for life?
Well, we don't know about water yet, but scientists have been looking at the potential atmosphere around TRAPPIST-1e, and they've ruled out that it's really full of hydrogen or carbon dioxide, which is a great thing because they're greenhouse gases, which would make the planet really hot. Mm-hmm. And there are some small clues that it might be a nitrogen-dominated atmosphere, which, again, is another sort of clue that there could be life there.
And that's the main gas surrounding our planet.
Yeah, exactly. We think of, I think of our planet as being really sort of oxygen-dense. But
plants and humans, but actually it's about the nitrogen,
Yeah,
isn't
something
it?
like 78% of our atmosphere is nitrogen. So nitrogen is also, a really exciting clue for life.
And this is the first time we've ever come this close to finding aliens, right?
Well, we've never found an exoplanet that has nitrogen in its atmosphere. We don't know for sure that TRAPPIST-1e does, but if it turns out that it does, that's the first time we've got that far.
You know, these hamburgers are quite similar to the ones they have at Krusty Burger.
Oh, no. Patented Skinner Burgers. Old family recipe.
For steamed hams.
Yes.
Yes, and you call them steamed hams despite the fact they are obviously grilled.
You know, one thing I should... Excuse me for 1 second.
Of course.
Oh, well, that was wonderful. Good time was had by all. I'm pooped.
Yes, I should be. Good Lord, what is happening in there?
Aurora Borealis?
Aurora Borealis. At this time of year, at this time of day, in this part of the country, localized entirely within your kitchen.
Yes.
May I see it?
No.
Seymour, the house is on fire!
No, Mother, it's just the Northern Lights.
Well, Seymour, you are an odd fellow, but I must say, you steam a good ham.
50 nights per year, the Northern Lights. To me, Aurora Borealis, in even its faintest form, is the kind of my friend. Northern Lights is nature's most beautiful color show, something which you should see once in your lifetime. Suddenly, the sky starts to flash like heavenly disco lights. If you go to 150 years ago when the first scientists came here, they had no idea what the lights actually are. We started to understand when we got the first satellites. But even then, not yet fully.
The source of the Northern Lights comes from the sun. It's basically two main sources for strong auroras. It's solar storms, and then you have what they call corona holes, which is a dark, huge areas in the sun's corona, which just sends out solar wind particles at very much higher speed than the rest of the sun.
So it's electricity from space which rains into the atmosphere and makes atmosphere glow.
Well, the Earth has a magnetic field, which is created by the rotating core in the center. If we didn't have that magnetosphere, the solar wind will actually slowly blow away our atmosphere, so there wouldn't be any life here on Earth actually. So luckily we have that one.
We have several invisible shields which protect us.
When a solar storm comes and connects with the Earth's magnetic field, then it will interact and it will shake up the magnetosphere and be creating what they call a geomagnetic storm. So if you don't have a little engine on your satellite, you will lose that satellite much quicker because of the solar activity. And even the solar storms brings with it a lot of energy that's dumped into the atmosphere. And that is basically what's also creating the aurora. And you can easily understand that 1,000 years ago, people were stunned or afraid when the whole sky was just kind of in flames.